Today's country music, 103.5 WTCM, coming up on 8:10 here on this Wednesday morning. And as promised, we have a very special interview today. It is Christian Boivin. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Doing great. I got to first off, congrats to the team and you on winning the national championship. That's incredible. I'm a huge U of M fan, and even though I do the morning show, I stayed up and watched every single minute of both the Rose Bowl and the game on Monday night. It's such a great time to be a U of M fan right now.
Oh, thank you very much. It's there's been an unbelievable amount of support for me from Northern Michigan, and both just from the entire Michigan fan base. So
how does it feel? Has it fully sunk in yet that you guys are champs? Did it just kind of hit you right away, or is it kind of surreal at all?
No, it absolutely has not hit me yet. Really, it still feels like we have another game, after the game. I'm with my family. The team has like an event with all the families together, and we're all talking. And I'm talking to my parents, and I realized that this is the first season I've ever played that hasn't ended with a loss.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm feeling like we still have a game next Saturday.
Right, because you're so used to that.
The
pattern.
finish, the completion of that. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so it's never really been like quote unquote like a job finished.
Yeah, right. Like a perfect season.
Going into that game, were you guys nervous at all, or were you pretty comfortable, or kind of a combination?
I think we're really comfortable.
Good.
I think especially given that we were able to get back into that week to week schedule, I think the coaching staff did a great job of getting us back into our regular routine despite the circumstances and the stakes. They made it feel like a regular game, and then we just went out and executed like we have it week to week the entire year.
Excellent. I gotta say, well, first of all, let me throw out to those who don't know, Christian is a Traverse City native, of course, played football for TC West. Now, was football something you always wanted to do, or at what age did you kind of get the bug to play? So
it was, I started, I think it was second, third grade that I started playing, but it was, end of sixth grade, beginning of seventh grade that I sat down with my parents and I told them that I decided that I wanted to play Division I football, and their first response was, we'll always support you in that, but it's not just going to happen. Like, you're going to have to work really hard to do that.
Right.
And I was just talking with my parents about it, and it's such a specific memory burned in my head when that happened.
That's awesome.
Well, you set a goal and you made it, and I like that your parents were like, you got to be realistic, buddy. Mm-hmm. The chances of that is pretty low, so you got to reach for it. And you mentioned, that you were comfortable in that game. So I got to say, as a fan watching, I feel like you guys really gel as a team. I know a lot of times certain sports have, a couple of standout superstars. And I mean, you guys obviously have, a little bit of that, but it feels like all together as a team, you guys really play well together. Is that a pretty safe assumption?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think you're correct in saying that's a unique circumstance, especially when you look at, we have the biggest roster in Division I football, 144 players, a massive staff, and it's pretty unique to see, especially from a team that recruits nationally. We have kids from Germany, California, Texas, Michigan, Boston, and they all come together, and the coaching staff does a great job of making us one family.
Yeah, that would be really tough because that's a lot of kids to force to work well together. That's amazing.
That is incredible. Okay, I know this isn't how this works, but if you had the option to play for an NFL team right now, and they said, "Hey, you get your pick," who would it be?
If I had my pick, I'd have to go with the Steelers. I've been a Steelers fan since day one, from my dad, and I love that organization. Mike Tomlin's one of the most impressive coaches there is. So I just have to, just because that's what I've grown up being my whole life.
I can roll with that, even though the Lions are my first team. Steelers are my second team. I've always been a huge fan. I was a fan way back in the Terry Bradshaw days, and I mean, they are a great organization. No argument there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I guess I should ask are your future plans to play in the NFL? Is that something you want to do?
It's absolutely a goal of mine. It falls into that category, those dreams that I set out when I was really young. Having an opportunity to play at the University of Michigan, most definitely opens that door for me. Just like my parents said, like going to play Division I football, like that's not going to be an easy goal. Mm-hmm. That's not always a clear path. It wasn't a clear path to get to Michigan. But I'd love to try and make a push for that in the next couple of years.
And winning the national championship does not hurt.
No,
that's for
that
sure.
helps a lot.
So let me ask you this: if you weren't to get drafted, what would be your backup plan for the future?
Yeah, like what are you going to school for?
So I'm currently going to school for sports management, but I'm very confident in saying that I'm going to coach football once I'm done, either at the college or pro level.
That's awesome.
So, because I always wonder this. Is it hard to keep up with schoolwork when you have all these practices and you're traveling for games and you have all this pressure to perform the best you can at those games and not fall behind in your schoolwork?
Yeah, most definitely it's a challenge. And I think the perception of it is that, college athletes go just to play their sport. And for a lot of schools, that is the case. Here at Michigan, obviously, like, the staff is dedicated to it, and the university makes a priority that, we're still student athletes.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's definitely a challenge. And, really where we make up for that is just the support that we get from the coaching staff. Like you're never missing practice, or you're never missing class for practice. You're always missing practice for class.
Gotcha.
You go to all your classes, you go to all your exams. That is a priority.
I always wondered about that because I didn't do any sports in college, but college was hard for some aspects of it. So I'm just curious about all that pressure with school, and you're there to play. So, wow. Yeah, that would be a lot of work. So great job with that.
All right. Is there a piece of advice that you would maybe tell high school football players out there if they were to say, hey, I've got the dream to play at a big college school? What would you tell them?
I would tell them to get in the weight room from just a young age. From my time at Traverse City West, I was blessed to be around a strength and conditioning program that was fronted by Jason Morrow. He's one of my closest friends, my mentors, and he's done a great job of building that program at West. And it's probably the primary reason that I'm here in the first place. A lot of kids just want to play football, but if you want to play it at a high level, you need to develop from a young age.
Yeah, there's a lot of work involved. It's not you can't just waltz in one day and go, I think I'd like to be a pro football player.
Yeah, I can't imagine not having that strength and endurance to play against.
Absolutely.
It's
and
like brick walls running at you.
You see some of the athleticism that happens in football, some of the moves and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like there's
smoothly.
You got to work at that for sure.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, let me ask you this. Since you're on the radio in your hometown, is there anything you'd like to say, any shout outs or anything you want to mention while we've got you here?
I think I just hit one with Coach Morrow. He was a huge contributor to my success. And then, of course, just, my family, my parents giving me the opportunity and all the sacrifices that go into that. I'm not getting to Michigan without them. And then, of course, God, it's ultimately his plan for me.
Perfect.
So.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat with us. I really appreciate that. And I got to say, go Blue.
Yeah, go Blue. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Christian Boivin, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. It is 8:19 here at WTCM.